Welcome to Cross Politic Midweek Fix. My producer wants me to talk into that camera.
You know what's funny about this? You know who actually has control of the cameras right now?
Who?
Your producer.
I know.
So he can switch it to whichever camera you're looking at. Oh, except for the wide and your personal camera. So you got two you can look at.
Yeah, I just look everywhere.
Yeah, we know that you kind of give the.
I look at
that's the pastor preaching kind of thing. It's like I look at the whole congregation when I preach. It isn't just one person. I know you. You know, it's everybody.
When you give me the when I do Proverbs, I look at one camera. That's pretty simple. I do a pretty good job with that one.
Yeah,
you put it real close to me.
Yeah, I do that on purpose because there have been times. Well, actually, I think when we started doing Proverbs, which, by the way, if you are not a Fight Laugh Feast Club member, now would be a great time to sign up to be a Fight Laugh Feast Club member because we have 33 Proverbs with Pastor Toby up right now.
Wisdom for Kings.
Wisdom for Kings. That's so good.
We're halfway through chapter 8 now. We're just cranking
halfway through.
Oh yeah, we're just cranking through Proverbs.
Verse by verse, kind of MacArthur style a little bit. Is that what that is?
Yeah. It's like biblical style.
Oh, okay, all right. That's very good. I had a lot of dads say I really love and enjoy going through this with my kids. So that's really good. Yeah. Hey guys, make sure you share the show right now. We're live. I'm gonna talk to this camera again, and we're actually going to be monitoring comments. Knox is gonna be monitoring comments on Facebook. I'm gonna be monitoring comments on YouTube. And the reason why we're doing this is because we actually don't quite know what we're doing for news today. Yeah,
that's not true.
What's this?
Open that up.
I mean, we kind of know, but we kind of don't. And we're actually working on Knox is working.
He doesn't know about this.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada. Canada. We got a shirt for you. Wow, I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah,
that is money.
Yeah.
So Canada, we want to help you guys defy tyrants, love God, and sing psalms.
James Coates, this is for you, brother.
We're sending you a shirt. We're sending you a shirt.
We're sending all the elders in his church a shirt.
Speaking of which, if you guys aren't in Rapid City, South Dakota, April 29th through May 1st, I don't know what's wrong with you because guess what? It's kicking off with beer and psalm sing on Thursday night, and we're going to end it with a big tent Sabbath dinner revival with food trucks pulling up, and comedian revival. John Branyan is going to be coming in.
Oh, yes, we can finally announce that.
We can announce that finally.
We have a comedian.
We got a comedian coming in.
So it's a feast. And laughing.
Yep, feast and laughing. We're doing it all.
We'll have been busy.
And we will sing psalms that night, too. That's for sure, too. So John's going to come in. He's a fantastic Christian comedian.
Been doing this for 30 years.
And he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it. He's an OG that gets it. We're excited to have him come on. And we're also excited to, we're eventually going to onboard a podcast with him and his daughter.
So I was listening to one just the other night. It is really good. It is really good.
Is it funny?
Yes, but comedy it is funny.
Okay, yeah.
But it's also delightful in like content. It's a lot of content, and it's looked at through a comedian's sense of humor.
That's
so
great.
it's extremely funny.
I'm excited.
But I mean, there's a lot of one of the things he said on there was really good was that humor is one of the ways that we deal with suffering.
Yeah.
Right. And and it was really good the way they walk. You got to go listen to the podcast to listen to it. But it was really good the way him and his daughter walked that out. It was phenomenal.
Speaking of podcasts on our network, don't forget Mark Dewey's In the Bullpen is our baseball podcast. And I just mention it because y'all know what tomorrow is, right?
Opening day?
That's right.
Opening day?
That's right.
Opening day of what?
The Major League Baseball season.
It's the same day you're supposed to start that hideous strength.
Are you even a Christian? Are you even a Christian?
Do they still do baseball?
Oh,
okay.
That's just
me.
mean.
I'm looking at my camera. I'm just looking at my camera.
Hey, we got people from Rapid City on YouTube right now.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so the one thing I want to plug the after party on Thursday night is going to be at Hay Camp Brewery.
Okay.
So after beer and psalms, it'll end about 9:00, and then we're going to walk over to Hay Camp Brewery and have a nice, fun fellowship time on Thursday night. And Hay Camp's been fantastic working with it. I can't tell you guys how easy and how great it's been working with them. Hay Camp was the original name of Rapid City. Did you guys know that?
Hay Camp.
Hay Camp, South Dakota, for a short period of time. So if you want to get the true South Dakota experience, this is the right location. They are a small craft brewery in the heart of Rapid City and focus on the flavor experience. Ooh, can't wait. With every customer that comes through our doors, or their doors, and how I'm reading it. Yeah. We specialize in beer education, knowledge about beer styles, and ingredients put into their brews specifically. Wow. We truly enjoy helping the customer leave knowing Sorry, guys.
You want to do that again?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to change up the theirs and thems and ours. And anyways, they truly enjoy helping their customer leave knowing a little more about our community and a little more about beer than when we walked in the first place.
Ad that's
Hey
ever
Camp
been read.
Brewery. We're going to be there on Thursday night, April 29th. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't tell you how many people are going to walk away remembering this ad.
No, everybody's
you know what I'm
remember
saying? That's how
this
good
ad.
that
You know that ad that was ridiculous. Gabe couldn't get through.
We're going to Hey Camp.
Hey, this show's brought to you by Logos Online. Logos Online School provides a Christ-centered classical education for grades 7 through 12. It's both affordable and accredited. The mission is to support parents as they raise their children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord Jesus. Classes meet online daily, Monday through Thursday, with outstanding teachers who take a personal interest in your student, including my sister and my brother-in-law. And unlike other programs, there are no extra fees for diploma students and honors classes, and registration is now open for fall classes. Christian, classical, accredited, affordable. Go to logosonlineschool.com.
You know, there's
Get your kids out of public school.
Well, everybody is. I reported this on the Daily News Brief.
Everybody is.
It's huge right now. Homeschooling has jumped in America from like 3.3% regularly to just in the last year up to 12.1%.
Wow!
And
Praise
there's two.
God.
It's amazing. And so there's two places, even some places more, like in Texas, it's 2,600%. People have started increase in people starting to homeschool, and this was exciting to me. In the black community, we homeschooling. Like we getting it. And so one of the things is as you start homeschooling, you really want great material. And this is why Logos Online is really important right now. And we got classical conversations too.
And it's so often, too, it's a big, it's like if you're not used to it, I've never taught my kids before, I'm not a trained teacher, I don't know how to do this. And there's this like massive, like I know I should get my kids out of public school, but I don't know how to do it. Yeah. And I don't know if I can afford it and all the rest of it. Well, these online options at least make it possible. They really want to work with you, make it affordable, and it's a way for you to have trained teachers helping you teach your kids.
Look at this. Good. Don Martin that's on Facebook. They're from Texas. So they took their kids out of public school due to the COVID nightmare here in Texas.
Woo!
So,
way to go,
Don.
Way to go.
By the way, we're watching comments on Facebook. And,
Knox is watching on Facebook. I'm watching on YouTube. Someone said hockey's where it's at.
What?
Hockey?
That's probably a Canadian.
I know. You're Canadian.
Look, we get you shirts. But that's
do this.
That's taking it too far. That's too far.
So this week, or actually at the beginning of this week or the end of last week, is when Officer Chauvin case started with the George Floyd death.
Right.
Yeah. And I've been kind of watching a little bit some of the testimony and some of the things because it's live. I mean, like they're streaming it live.
I know. I listened to a very bit of it.
And so I've just kind of been tuning in a little bit here, a little bit here. So I haven't gotten kind of the full experience. But one of the things that I think where this is going, because it's really hard to prove third or second degree, which are the charges against Chauvin. I think he's going to get off free. He's not going to be convicted. But I think that the problem is there's so many people right now, especially on the left, talking about he has to be convicted.
Right.
If we don't convict him, then this is our moment in America where we deal with racism in our country.
Right.
That's the kind of public discourse that's going on with this trial, which is actually horrible. Even if he does end up being convicted, that kind of conversation and public discourse is really bad because you're just saying. Proven guilty, he's guilty until proven innocent. And not only that, but if we don't have a sacrificial lamb for our society, then we're gonna, we're never gonna deal with racism in our country.
Right.
And so,
which is actually true.
Yeah, right. It is true.
Right.
The problem is that Derek Chauvin is not the sacrificial lamb we need.
That's right.
That's
right.
true.
Whether he's guilty or not guilty. That's not the sacrificial lamb we need. Jesus is the sacrificial lamb.
Well, it's funny that there's always going to have to be some sort of scapegoat, isn't there?
Absolutely.
And so here's the deal. Let's just say for a second that Chauvin gets proven guilty, and that's a scapegoat that we use. Well, it won't be too long. We'll be looking for another one real quick to try and...
This is actually really practical politics from Hebrews.
Yeah.
If you don't have the perfect Lamb of God, then you have to keep offering sacrifices, right? Because the blood never takes away the sins. Right. The blood never reconciles all of the controversies, all the enmities and animosities. You have to keep offering blood over and over again. And so even if he is convicted, rightfully or wrongfully, it's only going to last a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then you got to get another one because we're still sending up a storm.
Got to keep going. And I don't think.
Linda's asking if we'll ever interview James Coates. Yes, we would love to interview Pastor James Coates. Can you make
we
that
did
up?
on the water break, and we can get him on. We can get him on the show.
You did
on your water break.
Yeah,
you did.
You know, share.
We'll get James. Oh, well,
have him come back on.
Hey, speaking of which, I got Steve Dace coming on my show tomorrow at 4:00.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
so, but here's the thing: is given the condition that our society's in, regardless if they convict him guilty or not guilty. There is going to be no societal justice on this. No one's going to feel good about it.
Yeah, well, the question I'm asking is,
if he's freed, if he's declared not guilty, the whole leftist world's not going to feel good about it. If he's declared guilty, well, then you got another whole side of people that are going to be like, like probably a big portion of this will be actually cops who defended him and are on his side in all this too.
Yeah. Here's the deal. When a man dies and you're engaged in it, we got to find out at what part you were responsible for this man's death. That is essential. No person gets to die while you're engaging them, and then in some way we don't figure out if you caused it, were you part of it.
There has to be a trial.
Has to be a trial. But the question is it justice if we give this man a guilty penalty for something that he didn't do? No, it's not justice. And you don't want a world that operates like that.
Right.
But again, what is the standard? Well, he's innocent until proven guilty. So we need to prove without a shadow of a doubt that this man was guilty of killing another man. That's the trial we want to have. And we want to have this trial without the mob driving what justice looks like.
Increasingly impossible.
Yeah. And here's the deal. And this is a comfort, and this is going to hurt like the dickens. I'm going to tell you. The comfort is that if they get it wrong, that God will honestly bring true justice in the end of this.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Amen.
what. And
That's
if we don't trust that, then we're no different than anybody else in this. Now, I really want real justice. I really do.
Right.
But I want the kind of justice that doesn't let anybody get off. And this is what's scary. I think people, when you start thinking about justice for real, you should get nervous because it's a double-edged sword. It will cut you too.
Right.
It will cut you too if it's real justice. So you want to be careful about how far you're going by trying to delegate out something that's not real justice.
That's right.
So
we actually have a really good question here. This is something I've been thinking about. Since really me and Annie had kids, is how to celebrate Easter with your kids and make it special as Christmas. That's been a
I heard
question.
your news brief when you were talking about this.
Yeah, I said this a little bit on my news brief where, the Wrench household, my household, during the month of Christmas, it's 30 days of excitement. Basically, I'd say 2 months of excitement because my wife puts Christmas music on before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And as much to my I'm trying to hold the tidal wave of Christmas celebration to come. She puts it on before Thanksgiving, and so there's a lot of excitement in our house about Christmas. And Easter, I think we've gotten more knowledgeable and more excited about Easter, but the same intensity and excitement that we celebrate Christmas, I would like to see kind of transfer to Easter because, it's glorious that our Savior was born, but how much more glorious that we're celebrating our Savior died and rose again for us. That I think that Easter should be the biggest celebratory church calendar event of the year because of what the death and resurrection actually means.
I appreciate it, and I like the idea of let's ramp it up and let's make sure that we're making a big deal about it. At the same time, there's a certain part of me that's though, when Jesus touched down, it was over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, game over. You lost.
There's kind of. I wonder if cumulatively it's actually not some major failure that Christmas is kind of
the bigger holiday,
our bigger one, because it's. Yes, he needed to die.
Yeah,
and that's when he took away our sins. That's when he rose from the dead. He made all things new. Absolutely, I don't want to take anything from that.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know that we should feel bad.
Right.
That Christmas is because it's everybody knows he's here.
Right.
God's come.
Right.
He's coming to fix this.
Right.
He's arrived on the scene. He's going to fix it. And of course, he does fix it through the death and resurrection.
Right.
But it's you can make a similar argument what about the ascension?
Yeah.
We didn't.
When he go and sit at the right hand of God the Father.
He was given the nations as his inheritance. Wasn't that a big deal? Yeah, it was a big deal. But how many of you celebrate Ascension Day?
Yeah.
It's 5 Presbyterians in the back.
Yeah,
I do Ascension Day.
Some Assemblies of God, people they get Ascension Day down, don't they?
Yeah. You can't. Yeah.
And I'm
Charismatics.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I just don't think we should necessarily feel bad.
Yeah.
That Christmas is this massive thing. I say, do it up.
Mm-hmm.
Do it up. Have a party. Have a celebration. It matters.
In Christmas, you're doing both of those too. You're really you're acknowledging
right.
that he came. You're also acknowledging his resurrection at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
At least, that's how
joy to the world. The Lord has come.
Yeah.
It's like all of it.
Let earth receive her king.
As far as the curse is found,
right.
He's going to take the curse.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about this LDS guy?
Oh, I wasn't done talking about Easter. I wanted to hear about your traditions real quick.
We're going to do traditions?
We'll just kind of.
It's a midweek fix.
I know. I'm curious about how do you guys, as we do talk about this, how do we celebrate Easter and everything? One of the things I said on my daily news brief today, if you haven't caught it, you should go get it. Is one of the things one of the things that's helped me kind of understand and celebrate Easter and is just learning more about Easter week, and Pastor Wilson's been very helpful for this. He helped me kind of he basically kind of convinced me that Jesus died on Wednesday and rose again Saturday night, which would be the Jewish beginning of Sunday, and knowing that, because if you do the math from Friday to Sunday, you don't get 3 days and 3 nights. Mm. And so traditionally we celebrate Good Friday as the day Jesus died, but you don't get the 3 days and 3 nights out of that. So it's more likely that Jesus died on Wednesday, the night of Passover, as they were celebrating Passover that week, and then he was in the grave Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. That's your 3 nights, and then your 3 days was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then he rose again that night and we know that because Mary Magdalene and Mary, when they showed up to the empty grave on Sunday morning, there's no Jesus. And so that actually, in a weird way, has actually helped me better understand Easter and help me celebrate it in a better way, and also communicate to my kids. We actually had a really good conversation about this last night, just kind of talking about when Jesus died, what day he died, how many days was he in the grave, and so
yeah, we get it. You're discipling your kids.
No, I'm just.
I was talking to my kid last night in our 4 hours of Bible study.
You just gave a bunch of fodder to a bunch of cage stage Calvinists. They're like, Good Friday's really good Wednesday.
By the way, somebody on Twitter, was it Terry Thompson, said we celebrate the resurection every Sunday.
Oh, is that how it is?
So there you go.
That's really holy.
Yeah,
that's really holy. That's why we worship on Sunday.
So, all right, well, let's end here, and then we'll wrap up our news segment. But what do you guys do a little bit for Easter traditions?
Same old, same old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things that I really love when I first came to Christ Church, so usually typical evangelical churches, Easter is the big Christmas and Easter, right? We know that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so people would go out of their way to try and make that Sunday so super special.
They bring in the Easter bunny and everything.
The choirs come out in a big way, and then they have this extra special song that comes out too, and it's just a whole show. And it's just, usually for people who aren't Christians to come and kind of get look at this church is hopping. This church gets down.
And then they come back next Sunday and you're like,
and then right. And I remember the first time that I went to Christ Church, and we got here right around Easter, and the preaching and the teaching was on the same. It was we get high level preaching all the time anyway. Our service is pretty high level anyway. But it was at that same high level that it was the last week. And it struck me that we take this as serious every Sunday as we do just this Sunday too.
Yeah.
And so we didn't look at it as some unique, like for Christmas, we put on special services, but even our Christmas services, they're already at that level. Right. They're already there every Sunday. Like that person, like Terry said, every Sunday we acknowledge the resurrection of Christ. And so, I appreciated that because it didn't feel like, this one. No. This is what it is all the time. Yeah. This is this kind of praise all the time. And people who are coming in are like, and I don't know if the pastor's thinking, I'm gonna give a wing dinger on this one, but it was just another good service. Yeah. And I walk away.
It's actually in the minutes we say wing dinger this Sunday.
Wing dinger this Sunday. Yeah. I walk away.
Bringing it. Wing dinger.
And this is how it should be at your church. Every Sunday I walk away and I'm like, I can't believe that I got such a good church and such good preaching and this good service every Sunday. It feels like that. And so our tradition has been, for Easter, we talk about it. I try to bring sweets in and things like that so that I want to train my kids to love the standard. And so I use things. And so when Ben Merkel talks about this, I got this from him, talking about that your dinners and the things that you do at your house is tie your kids' allegiance to what you want, the doctrine that you want to teach them. And so I want them to be tied to those, but I want them to feel like that about everything. But I take those moments and we'll do certain things, but it's not we don't have huge traditions around that time. I spend a lot of time going through Christmas, and we'll do a whole Doug's book. Here's a book on this, and we follow that book for Christmas. But sorry, Gabe, I don't have a real big Easter tradition.
No, that's fine.
We do a big Easter dinner. We usually get some ham and lamb and steak and all kind of stuff. Deviled eggs. We do egg. We've done egg hunts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
where's that in the Bible?
It's in first
Hesitations.
Chapter 13. I think we also usually have a big, we have a lot of people over. Usually do a big.
That's a great opportunity to witness because people want to food and
meet
hang
people, get to know people, encourage people. We've one of the things we did is that's old medieval tradition is usually Saturday night or Sunday night we usually do a big bonfire and sing Easter hymns around the bonfire because just symbolizing the light of the resurrection. And Jesus rose from the dead early in the morning. So we usually get a bunch of people together, do a big bonfire, maybe roast marshmallows, because that's also in Second Hesitations. 13:7 marshmallows
with chocolate,
but
peanut butter,
lots
and
of chocolate.
So is Easter traditions.
And so, anyways, we make a big deal of the day and the weekend. We have a Good Friday service usually. Here at church,
which we all look forward. We look forard to.
Do that. So we're doing that.
Thanks, guys.
Is that good?
That's helpful. Yeah, it's an honest question for me because we'd love to, just kind of make sure that this holiday carries, a lot of the same weight that Christmas does, and I don't feel the pressure in a sense that like, man, if we don't do it, I feel like my kids are probably going to learn how to better celebrate Easter than I will.
I was thinking about you talking about Good Friday service when we had first gotten here. I realized it's about 8 years ago now that in March has made it 8 years since we got here.
Wow.
And so I can't believe it.
It was like 3.
It does feel like 3.
No, it was like 5 when you started cross politics.
So one of the things that Good Friday service, you preached that Good Friday service, I believe. And I never forget this. One of the things that you were saying, you start listing off all the people who had gone before us to the kingdom, and you start talking about Christians, we're not afraid of death because of Christ. And one of the lines that's stuck in my head, I still want to find a place to use this in the song or somewhere, but Christians, we dance in the catacombs. And I was like, that's the power of Christ, is that we can dance in the catacombs because we know he has the power over death. Anyway, it just made me think about that sermon. That's still stuck around, man. That was good.
That's really good. Yeah.
Go ahead to we were talking about the lawsuit.
I was waiting for
the LDS. You want me to turn into that? You want me to go from Easter to Mormons?
Yes.
All right. We're going to go from Easter to Mormons. So I don't know if one of the things that you guys saw this last week, if you're on Daily Deft Wire, deftwire.com, deftwire.com. That's where me, Toby, and Knox post all your favorite news articles that you should be reading throughout the week. And this article that came up was actually this ex-LDS Mormon, Huntsman, I forget his first name, but John Huntsman used to be governor of Utah, and so his brother's now in California working in the movie scene in California, and he's suing. He's ex-LDS, left the LDS church last year. He's suing the Mormon church for basically recouping his tithe money because the Mormon church, his claim is the Mormon church has been lying to him regarding their own finances.
That's it?
That's it. But
That's the only place they've been lying
what
from.
got me thinking, the thing that kind of pulled me into this article is because it got me thinking actually about something else. What if ex-Mormon sued the Mormon church because they're lying to them? Mm-hmm. Joseph Smith lied. Brigham Young lied.
Yeah.
The church fathers and prophets have lied to them. And then he comes to the realization and studied, did his homework, and said, "Oh, I've been lied to."
Yeah.
And they owe me all my tithe money back, whatever, $5 million, whatever it is. And then what if the judge rules in favor of that gentleman who sued the Mormon church over lying? Mm-hmm. Now, the problem that we were talking about this offline, the problem is that judge. He can't rule in favor neutrally, but he can. I believe he could rule in favor in this genuinely, but only if he's operating under Christian principles.
Right.
Because if he's not operating under Christian principles, secularism will either destroy all religions, or secularism will have some sort of Christian line in defending religious freedom properly and respectfully.
Well, it's already sort of begging the question, even with this lawsuit as it stands. If he's alleging some kind of financial misdealings, he's assuming a standard.
Yeah, right.
A standard of, this is moral financial dealings. This is immoral financial dealings. Well, where'd you get that standard from?
Yeah.
And if it applies to the finances, why doesn't it apply to what you're doing with the finances spiritually? What you're doing with them as a church? What you're doing with them with the building funds or whatever you're funding or building or however you're investing the funds? But there's a standard involved there, but there's a lie that a lot of Christians have bought into, that you can have sort of this neutral center, a neutral state, a neutral public square. But then as soon as you say, the Mormons, you have to, if you assume a neutrality, then you have to, if you rule against the Mormons, then you have to rule against the Christians.
Yeah, no, that's what scares me is that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you have some people be like, no, we have to defend the rights of the Mormons to lie.
Right.
About, holy underwear and celestial families.
Right. And a planet,
and their own planets. So we have to let them lie in order to make room for Christians.
Yeah. And we don't want that standard either.
But what you've just done is basically imply that Christians they're lying too.
Yeah.
You can't hold religion as sort of this category and say they're all equal.
Yeah.
When one of them is true and the rest are lies.
Well, and I think part of this is bothering me too is that aren't we giving the authority to the civil magistrate to make these decisions?
Absolutely.
That's a huge problem.
We must not.
We should not, because I think I was thinking about this just a little bit. I want to put some more thought into it. And if you guys have any comments you want to add to this, do it on Facebook. We're about to end or
and YouTube.
On YouTube. But I was thinking, if churches, we need another council or some sort of clear orthodoxy for Christianity again. And we need to restate that, and we need to make it very clear, because Mormons have done a great job of merging into evangelicalism over the last 15 years, so that it looks very blended, and Christians haven't been doing a very good job of keeping those borders clear. So that if a person then goes and jumps into a cult or to some other organization after knowing publicly that the church has said, no, this isn't outside of orthodoxy, then that's on you. It don't have nothing to do with the civil magistrate. You already done known. Yes, I said it. You already done known.
Well, there are certain things, though, that have to do with the civil magistrate.
Yeah, and I have a problem with that.
Right.
But that's the thing in here is that lying. Right. The question is, who's going to define that? Right. Because somebody can, like you were saying earlier, can come and say, I feel like I was lied to about Christianity. Well, okay, if we were policing our own ranks, right, and doing a certain good job of checking our false teachers and our word of faith people, and being very, very biblical about this, and having some sort of our own form of counsel about these issues, then when somebody goes and says, I gave that prophet $200,000, he said I was going to get a jet. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a jet, right? It's like, well, we already done told you.
Right.
So this is where it's interesting. There are some biblical standards that need to be inside of our magisterial setup. I get that. But
like the Idaho Constitution, for example, prohibits polygamy.
Right.
It's a crime.
Right. Right.
Idaho statute that I don't think we've.
Adultery. It's the same thing. But a crime.
But we became a state. We were only able to become a state because we promised not to let Mormons vote or hold office, basically. Yeah. And it's like written into our Constitution.
Right.
Utah,
where did that come from?
Yeah. From the Bible.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And so, but then if somebody decides to go and jump in Mormonism, it's like, bruh.
Right. We told you.
Yeah. You're going to jump off a cliff. You're going to sue the state.
But the point is that 100 years ago, there was a Christian center that was assumed by everybody. Yeah. But as soon as you get rid of that Christian center, then you now have no standard. And even with the secularists who say, no, we're going to help all you religious people sort this out. Well, they have to come up with a standard somewhere.
Right.
And if it's not from Christ, if it's not from the Bible, then they're making it up as they go along, and it's going to be fickle, it's going to be ambivalent, and it's not going to be just. Back to the Derek Chauvin and George Floyd situation, all you're left with ultimately then is mob rule.
That's right.
You're left with oligarchies of various sorts.
We did this with marriage. When we gave marriage to the states, their standard became what was. Yeah. What is adultery? What is a man? What is a woman?
Right. What is a baby?
What is a baby? We don't even get. So we don't want to do that. I think that comes from us policing our own ranks first, and then after that, the whole nation repents.
Just preach the word.
Yeah, amen. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. I didn't get very many questions.
I did.
Oh, you just weren't looking.
I brought them in. No, I was on YouTube.
Oh, okay. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until next week, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic. Yeah.